We're looking again at historic sites which on paper should have nothing to do with each other, but they are aligned, and aligned in a way which goes far beyond what could possibly be a coincidence. We're in County Clare again, and not far from Ennis, just a couple of miles outside the village of Quin. We're at Knappogue Castle. Not the castle itself, now that has alignments to a lot of sites around the county. We're looking at the little tower at the west gate. That's a couple of 100 metres off the Quin to 6 Mile Bridge Road. There's an overview of the castle grounds, the walled gardens and the tower beside the gate. Now the tower had a stone spiral staircase internally. It's about 7 or 8 metres tall, if that. And as a lookout tower it would have been useless because you'd have been looking out on wooded countryside. But looking at the map of the area, we can see that there are alignments to quite a number of locations. We'll look at 8 specific alignments whereby either something was built to align with the tower, or the tower sits right in the middle between, or on a straight line between 2 sites, or there are 2 sites and if you draw a line between them and continue the line you hit the tower. The first one we'll look at is a fairly substantial outbuilding adjacent to the castle. Now it's about 500 metres from the tower. The building is in a low yard. There's a high ground and a wall garden between there and the tower, and there isn't a line of sight. But looking along the ridge tile we can see that the building is perfectly aligned with the tower, and it's out of alignment with the structure of the castle. Now, alignment number 2. Let's go to Inishcaltra on Lough Derg, Holy Island. There's a round tower there, obviously, but there are also a number of other enclosures which have buildings in them. Now, one of these enclosures has a south-facing wall, which, if we align with it, draw the line across the countryside to Mohon Ring Fort near Newmarket on Fergus. Mohon has quite dramatic alignments with a number of other locations, but if we just take this line that goes back to Inishcaltra, then our little tower in Knappogue sits directly on that line. The distance to Mohon in one direction is 3 kilometres and to Inishcaltra in the other direction is 29.5 kilometres, and there is no line of sight. As we mentioned before, the round tower at Inishcaltra and every building there and every perimeter wall there all align with a variety of historic sites in Clare, Tipperary, Galway, Limerick, which were built over the last 2,000 years as far as we know. The next one we'll go to, number 3, is Rath near Corfin. Now the round tower there is not any longer existing, but it's one of the oldest monastic sites in the country. If we take a line from there over the top of the existing remains of the round tower at Dysart, about 4 kilometres away from there, then continue that line and that takes us to Knappogue. Number 4, Meelick Round Tower in Mayo. If we take a line from there to Fenlow Cemetery near Newmarket and Fergus, there is a curious little structure there currently. Looks like a grotto. We don't know what it did back in the day. But this line between Meelick and this structure in Fenlow goes directly over our tower in Pogue and arrives at Fenlow in perfect alignment with a couple of perimeter walls down there and hits this little stone structure dead centre. Fenlow is another site where every wall and every building has an alignment with another similarly historic site around the county and further on. Now, alignment number 5. Granahan House is a 17th century or so house near Ballycar, near Newmarket and Fergus, and in the garden there is an octagon. Now, this octagon at Granahan has links with buildings in Ennis, Limerick, Dromoland and further afield. We'll be looking at that one separately because there's a lot of stuff there. The line from Granahan to Knappogue Tower, if we continue that, takes us about 3 kilometres further up into Treva to a very odd little diamond-shaped field. Now the field has a stone wall surrounding it, very substantial stone wall, far in excess of what you'd need to keep livestock in a field, and it adjoins the tip of the diamond-shaped field is beside the river. Now if we look at the line coming in from Granahan and Knappogue to that point in the field, we take a 90-degree angle to that, and we very quickly hit the centre of two ring forts in a row. There are other ring forts locally which are a continuation of that pattern, and the long axis of that little diamond field aligns perfectly with the main building line at Ballyhannon House, so that was a building reference for there as well. The river, the Hell River, at this location, looks like it's been engineered. Water doesn't flow in a straight line to that extent in this landscape, so that looks like an engineered stretch of river which was designed to reach this location. The distance in one direction to Granahan House is 2.6 kilometres, and to the little diamond-shaped field in the other direction is 3.8 kilometres. Number 6 of the 8 that we're looking at is Barntick House, which is just across the Fergus estuary from Quin. Barntick has northerly alignments to Drumcliff Round Tower and Temple Mealy, but its eastern alignments are to Fenlow, and the one we're looking at obviously is to Knappogue. The line to Knappogue goes over the top of the tower and into a marker reference point in the walled garden at Knappogue Castle. The fields in Barntick are perfectly aligned with this axis. There's an aerial view of the walled garden, and there's the stone marker. It's a statue on a large limestone plinth right in the centre of the pathways in the garden. The centre point of this garden is a reference point for other alignments in the area, which we'll be looking at in other episodes. Number 7 we're looking at is Quin Abbey, just a couple of kilometres north of Knappogue. Now, the Quin Abbey site had quite a lot of buildings on there. We can see on this satellite image that was taken at a time when the sunshine was quite low, we can see the outline of lots of foundations and walls which are no longer existing, but we can see the contours there on the ground. And one of the main boundary lines there, if we follow that to the southeast, we go directly to the tower, the gate tower at Knappogue. So it appears this location at Knappogue had some significance back in the 1300s, 1400s, when all that stuff was happening at the Abbey. Now the final one we'll look at involves a ring fort about 8 kilometres north in Newgrove near Tulla. It involves the inauguration site at Maw Eyre, which is between there and Knappogue. Maw Eyre is where the kings of Munster were inaugurated since the time of Brian Boru. Now, if we take a line from the centre of this ring fort through the centre of Maw Eyre, we arrive at the tower in Knappogue. Now, that's a direct straight line. If we go off at 45 degrees from that line at Maw Eyre, we get to patterns of other ring forts and alignments that take us back to Knappogue via the little diamond-shaped field we measured earlier. So what we have is a matrix of alignments which goes far beyond what could possibly be a coincidence. It seems to tie everything from the Bronze Age to the Iron Age to the 19th century. Now, I'm not offering any explanations, I'm just drawing the lines, and this is where the stuff is located. Continuing outward from just this set of alignments, then we will reach every church, cemetery, old public building, interestingly even the lighthouses. Every lighthouse in the country has interesting alignments to inland locations which on paper have nothing to do with seafaring matters. But that's for another day. Thank you.